going back to the political stance, like what do you think the top three issues are, and what are your stance on them, and what are you gonna do to deal with those?
Well, I would say that when I've been talking to constituents, number one, people are concerned about the economy.
Yeah.
I get more economic questions than I have had health questions. And I think that's largely because we feel as a province that Dr. Henry has done a good job of kind of managing the crisis, but now it's how do we manage out of this crisis?
Yeah.
And the economic concerns, the industries that are still on the sidelines, that are still held waiting, that are not going to make it. And Vancouver Board of Trade produced a study that said 4 out of 10 do not believe that they will make it.
That's insane.
In the next 12 months.
Yeah.
We're going to be a hurting unit, and we need to figure out how to deal with those economic headwinds that are coming our way. I would say that with that, and with that respect, I know that the BC Liberals have come out with the most aggressive plan forward. Governments don't restart economies; consumers do.
Yeah.
So how do you give someone, that level of confidence? Put everything on sale. Take away PST. And that's going to affect small businesses positively. It's going to affect our market positively. But moreover, PST is a regressive tax, which means it actually affects low and middle income earners the most.
Yeah.
So putting everything on sale actually gives them the help that they need, while also stimulating the rest of the economy. And someone said, well, what happens if one of your rich friends uses it to buy a boat? And I said, okay, so let's suppose one of my rich friends buys a boat. How many jobs?
Yeah.
How many boat manufacturers do we have in BC? What does that actually do then to propel us forward? It does a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it. Let's make sure they buy that boat in BC and don't go to Alberta to buy the boat where they don't have PST.
Yeah.
So I think that's a bold plan. I think it says a lot for what we want to do to stimulate the economy. I think the second thing I hear a lot about is our mental health.
Yeah.
And we got to get serious with that. And we've got to get serious about, as Andrew Wilkinson says, treating the causes. There's not one cause. It's a multifaceted issue, and we need to make sure that we're treating all of the causes, that we're coming alongside with wraparound care that is meaningful. And that actually is put where we need it to be put, and not just willy-nilly housing everywhere that artificially inflates the rest of our rental market.
Yeah, well, and it's complicated, right?
Super
there's
complicated.
Many issues, and it's complicated. They all work together, so it's not an easy thing to deal with.
Absolutely, but when I think about the second wave of COVID, part of that second wave is our mental health, that we're affecting negatively because of how we've altered our living situation. And then we also have an incredibly increased need within our communities. So I think that when I think about how we could meaningfully make a change and make an impact, it's with our mental health. And having said that, I look at the current government, and we're they had a whole new ministry created, the Ministry of Mental Health, and that ministry had less funding than the Premier's office. So you tell me how much you can actually accomplish without a budget.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot. So, Andrew Wilkinson has said, treat the causes, and then the second part of that is protect from harm. Because in the same breath that people say, how do we take care of those, with mental health issues and substance abuse issues, with the same breath they say, but I'm scared. I'm scared to walk downtown. I'm scared to go to my business. We have staff at Troika that we have to walk to our parking lot, which is less than 200 meters away. But it's at night, you wouldn't go. Well, now at 3 p.m., you wouldn't necessarily walk there.
Yeah.
So we need to reclaim our safety and security, but also reclaim the safety and security of the mentally ill. I say, my parent, if they had Alzheimer's, would I say, best of luck to you?
Yeah.
And here you go on the street. Well, no, you wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
You would never do that. You would protect them. We put safeguards around them. We make sure that they have care 24/7. Why are we not doing that with mentally ill that looks different than what Alzheimer's does?
Yeah.
So I would say that that's the second issue. And the third issue, people still care about our environment. And how do we do that in a way that's meaningful? How do we do that in a way that actually still stimulates our economy?
Yeah.
Because when again, I'll go back to the 4 pillars of sustainability. It's not one. And anytime we get lopsided or out of balance, our society will become out of balance. And we can't do that. So how do we prioritize the environment, but at the same time, as if it was like one of those dually bikes, where you've got 4 different pedals, right? It's like, how do we, have the social aspects of mental health? How do we have the cultural aspects of who we are as a province? How do we have the economic aspects of industry and great industry and delivering amazingly clean energy to the rest of the world, like LNG? And then how do we protect our environment while doing that? Yeah. We have some of the highest environmental standards in the world. We are renowned. That's not actually where I think we need to focus all the time. I think we need to broadcast. I think we need to talk about how great we are doing.
100%.
But having said that, we need to look at things like Andrew Wilkinson's announcement yesterday. We're going to do a second LNG plant. And the reason we're going to do that is because we need industry. Yeah. And we need to keep moving things forward.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me here in the Trike office. I appreciate your time. Yeah, that was awesome.